How's it going, guys? This is Jason with Glitch in the System, and today I'm going to be talking about my personal career. Today I'm going to go over quickly what is a QA engineer, how to get into QA engineering, how much does it pay, and kind of a basic thing of what we do called exploratory testing. First off, let's get the question out of the way. What is a software tester or a QA engineer? Okay, so this is kind of a broad question to ask because a QA engineer or a software tester can fit in multiple different roles in a company or organization. So obviously the core of what a software tester or a QA engineer does is to test software. So basically somebody in a company, a developer, or maybe just the company itself, is asking you to test some software to make sure that it does A, works as expected, and B, doesn't break when it's not supposed to break, which is never. So a QA engineer often does a lot more things than just that, but let's just focus on that core concept. We are here to test software. So you may be asking, why have I never heard of this before if it's such a great job? For me, I believe that the QA role has been very undervalued for several reasons. Popularity-wise, usually people in IT are looking to be like a software developer, programmer, people that make the apps and stuff like that. What a QA does is kind of the opposite of that, is we make sure that things are working. So I believe one reason why people have never heard of QA engineers is that there is no degree to learn how to be a QA engineer. There's a degree to learn how to be a developer. There's a degree to learn how to be a manager. There are degrees and certificates to learn how to be a project manager. There's a degree to learn how to be a designer, but there is no specific degree for becoming a QA engineer. So I believe this is the number one reason why people do not become QA engineers. So let's take a quick look at Glassdoor for the pay scale. So QA engineers' salaries, you can see ballpark average for the different experience levels, depending on where you live, all that stuff, your experience. It's around 70K, so it ranges between 50 to about 94K. Let's look at software developer. So software developer is between 58 and 107K, and an average of about 76, right? So this is not very far off, right? A developer makes pretty similar pay to a QA engineer. I'm going to say in most cases. So let's take a closer look at the QA salary over time. Let's just go in here. So 0 to 1 years, maxed out at 80K. Let's jump up to 6 years. You're at 94K. So you're already at that 94K mark when you're at 4 to 6 years, right? And let's jump up to, let's do 7 to 9 years. So now you're at 100K. So being in this industry between 7 to 9 years, you can make 100K or more. And then if you go to 15 plus K, you're going to be making 110K or more. 15 plus years, you have the potential to make 110K or more. So now that you know what a QA engineer does, we test software, and now you know how much a QA engineer makes, pretty similar to a developer. Now you may be asking me, how do I become a QA engineer if there is no QA engineer degree? I'm going to tell you that most of the QA engineers I interview have a degree, but it is not a QA engineer degree. Obviously, it is not a software development degree. Most of them are just some other degrees. Me, for example, I have a business degree, and I find that the business degree is the most common degree for QA engineers for several reasons. Number one, being a QA engineer means you need to have very good communication skills, very good documentation skills. The QA engineer is kind of like a middleman between the customer, product manager, and developers. As a QA engineer, you're going to be writing lots of documentation. You will write test cases, you will write test plans, you will write user documents for the customers. So this is why a business degree is really great for QA engineering. So along with a business degree or any other degree for that matter, you need to have a fair amount of computer knowledge. You don't need to be a software developer. What you do need to do is you need to understand how software is supposed to work for the consumer, and big picture, you need to know how the software works from the technical side. So a big benefit of being a QA engineer over a developer is that getting into the QA engineering field has a lower barrier of entry. You don't have to be super great at coding. There are lots of jobs out there for junior testers that you can start out with to get your feet wet with the industry. These aren't generally high-paying jobs, but as long as you have a good attitude and the willingness to learn, you can jump into these and start your career off. And then once you have more experience, you can jump up to higher roles and start working your way to that 100K. Examples of things that you might do when you are an entry-level tester or a QA are things like you can test video games, you can do exploratory testing on websites, you can do user studies. There are also several websites out there that allow you to do some software testing ad hoc from home. Basically how these companies work is that they post up a website or an app or something that they want tested real quick. You sign up for it and then they send you the details. If you find any issues with their software, then you post up bugs. They review the bugs and then they will pay you for what you find. All right, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and the bell to get notifications of when I post new videos. If you guys have any suggestions of things that you would like me to cover, feel free to drop it in the comments below.